thing Battlefield RedSec does differently from Warzone is how much it rewards smart movement instead of raw mechanical skill. A lot of players are still playing RedSec like a traditional arcade shooter, sprinting toward gunfire, pushing straight lines, and relying on aim to solve every fight. But RedSec is designed around positioning, terrain usage, and angle control, and this is where advanced flanking routes become extremely powerful. Why flanking is stronger in RedSec than most BRs. RedSec maps are large, layered, and intentionally uneven. You're not meant to move in straight paths. Between natural terrain, elevation changes, destructible environments, and wide sightlines, the game constantly gives you opportunities to break line of sight, if you're actually looking for them. Most players don't. They rotate directly from point A to point B, which makes their movement predictable and easy to punish. Advanced flanking routes exist specifically to counter that predictability. What a flank route really is. A flank route is a planned movement path that avoids the enemy's main line of sight. Its goal is to hit the fight from an unexpected angle, the side, the back, or vertically. In Battlefield RedSec, this matters more than ever because the maps are large, layered, and filled with terrain that most players completely ignore. Terrain-based routes, the core of smart flanking. One of the most reliable flanking methods in RedSec is terrain-based routing. Hills, ridgelines, trenches, slopes, and uneven ground are not just visual details, they are movement tools. When you move along terrain instead of through open ground, you naturally reduce how many angles can see you at the same time. This lowers the chances of getting third-partied and allows you to approach fights without being detected. In practice, this means choosing routes that prioritize cover over speed. You arrive slightly later, but you arrive alive, and from a better angle. Using destruction to create new routes. Another mechanic unique to Battlefield-style gameplay is environmental destruction. In RedSec, destruction isn't just about chaos, it's about creating opportunity. Blowing open walls, collapsing structures, or removing cover can instantly create new lines of sight or hidden entry points. These moments effectively generate brand new flanking routes that didn't exist seconds earlier. Good players use destruction reactively. Smart players use it proactively to open angles, force repositioning, or enter fights from unexpected directions. Vertical flanking and elevation control. Most players think in two dimensions, left or right, front or back. Vertical flanking breaks that mindset. Elevation gives you vision, information, and control. Attacking from above or below forces enemies to adjust their aim and camera, which slows their reaction time, even if their mechanical skill is strong. In RedSec, elevation changes are everywhere, but very few players consistently use them as part of their routes. That's a massive advantage if you do. Timing-based flanking, the high-level play. The most advanced flanking routes aren't about distance, they're about timing. A timing-based flank happens after the fight starts, not before it. When teams commit to a gunfight, their focus narrows. They reload, plate, revive, and tunnel vision on one direction. That's when a delayed flank becomes devastating. You're not looking for a fair fight, you're looking for distraction, isolation, and collapse. This is how squads get wiped without prolonged engagements. Common mistakes that ruin flanks. Flanking fails when players overcommit. Running too far, flanking without an escape route, or chasing kills instead of controlling space will turn a good idea into a bad death. Advanced flanking is about pressure, not ego. You force enemies to split attention, and once they do, the fight is already won. Route timing based on enemy commitment. One of the most overlooked skills in Battlefield RedSec is understanding when to flank, not just where. A good flank is rarely about speed, it's about patience. Enemy commitment happens when players mentally lock into a fight. They start reloading, plating, reviving teammates, or hard-focusing a single angle. At that point, their awareness drops, even if their mechanical skill is high. Advanced players don't rush flanks. They wait until enemies are fully committed before moving. This timing window is where flanking becomes devastating. You're not entering a fair fight, you're entering a distracted one. If you flank too early, enemies are still scanning. If you flank too late, the fight is already over. The goal is to arrive when the enemy has no attention left to spare. In RedSec, reading enemy behavior is often more valuable than reading the map. The moment you hear sustained gunfire, repeated reloads, or revive sounds, that's your signal to move. Squad-aware routing. In squad-based modes, flanking is not about chasing individual kills. It's about controlling space and isolating enemies. A successful flank forces the enemy team to split attention. Some players turn to face you, while others stay locked on your teammates. That moment of hesitation creates openings. Advanced routing takes squad positioning into account. Instead of entering the fight from the same direction as your team, you approach from an angle that stretches the enemy's formation. This isolates targets. Once one enemy is separated, the rest of the squad is forced to react, often poorly. Revives become risky. Repositioning becomes slow. Communication breaks down. The strongest flanks don't wipe teams instantly. They collapse them step by step. In Battlefield RedSec, teamwork isn't just about shooting together. It's about approaching from different directions with purpose. At the end of the day, Battlefield RedSec rewards players who think before they move. If you're constantly losing fights, it's probably not your aim, it's your positioning. Flanking routes aren't about being flashy or running across the map. They're about controlling angles, timing engagements, and forcing enemies to react on your terms. If this video helped you see movement differently, drop a like, subscribe for more high-level Battlefield content, and let me know in the comments what topic you want covered next. I'll see you in the next one.